Across the world's coastlines, from the small fishing villages of the Pacific to the bustling ports of West Africa, life has always revolved around the rhythm of the sea. Generations have timed their work, their meals, and even their traditions to the pulse of the tides. But that rhythm is changing fast. The ocean, the same vast force that once gave these communities food, income, and protection, is becoming warmer, more unpredictable, and, in many places, less alive. The silent accumulation of heat within its depths is rewriting the rules of survival. For the billions of people whose lives depend directly on the sea, the change is not theoretical. It is visible every morning in the thinning of fish nets, the bleaching of coral reefs, and the rising fatigue of those who must now work harder for less. In the fishing village of Ban Lame, Thailand, local fishers speak of how the ocean has become strange. Waters that once teemed with anchovies and mackerel now feel empty. The currents have shifted. The spawning seasons arrive too early or too late. It's like the fish are confused, one fisherman said. But it isn't confusion, it's survival. As sea temperatures rise, marine species are migrating toward cooler waters, often away from the coasts that depend on them. For small-scale fishers who lack the means to follow, this shift is devastating. Their daily catch, which once supported entire families, has dropped to a fraction of what it was. With reduced income, diets have changed too. Fresh fish, once the primary source of protein, is being replaced by processed, less nutritious foods. Over time, this dietary shift contributes to malnutrition, especially among children and pregnant women. The health of the ocean is now directly tied to the health of the people who live beside it. The story is similar on the west coast of Africa, where warmer waters and industrial overfishing have pushed sardine and mackerel populations northward. In Senegal, local markets that once overflowed with affordable fish now sell imported, frozen alternatives at higher prices. Families who once relied on omega-rich seafood are consuming more refined grains and oils, leading to rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The sea, once a source of balance and nourishment, is becoming a driver of diet-related illness. And as young men find less work in traditional fishing, they migrate inland or risk dangerous journeys across oceans that no longer sustain them. The erosion of livelihoods becomes the erosion of community itself, a slow unraveling of social stability driven by changes beneath the waves. In island nations such as Fiji and Kiribati, the danger is not only economic but existential. The encroaching heat of the ocean feeds stronger storms, higher tides, and relentless coastal erosion. Villages are being relocated inland, sometimes multiple times within a decade. Each move severs families from ancestral burial grounds, sacred trees, and traditional fishing grounds that define their cultural identity. The psychological toll is immense. Islanders describe a deep grief, an emotional emptiness that goes beyond fear of flooding. It is the pain of watching their home dissolve, quite literally, into the sea. This displacement is not sudden like an earthquake. It is gradual and cruelly certain. The land shrinks inch by inch, and the salt water that seeps into wells and gardens poisons both body and spirit. Salt intrusion has already contaminated freshwater sources across parts of Bangladesh and the Mekong Delta, raising blood pressure and kidney disease rates in communities that once had clean rivers to drink from. Every glass of water becomes a reminder of what has been lost. The warming ocean is also transforming disease patterns in coastal regions. Vibrio bacteria, which thrive in warm, salty environments, are now spreading northward, infecting shellfish and causing outbreaks of cholera and skin infections. For communities dependent on seafood, this creates a cruel dilemma: risk illness by eating what they catch, or face hunger by throwing it away. Warmer seas also fuel toxic algal blooms, crimson or green stains that blanket the water and suffocate marine life. When these toxins enter the food chain, they can cause paralysis, memory loss, and long-term neurological damage. Health clinics along tropical coasts report increasing cases of respiratory problems and skin irritation linked to exposure to these blooms. The ocean, once a healer and provider, is now making people sick. In the Caribbean, coral reef collapse is undermining both food security and tourism, the two lifelines of local economies. Reefs that once glowed with color are turning ghostly white as rising temperatures kill the coral. Without these living structures, Fish populations decline and coastal protection weakens. Storm surges that used to be absorbed by reefs now crash directly into towns and resorts, flooding homes and hospitals. The aftermath of each hurricane brings outbreaks of waterborne disease, contaminated food, and mental trauma from loss and displacement. Public health systems, already limited, are forced to cope with repeated crises while funding dwindles. The cycle becomes relentless. Heat fuels storms, storms damage infrastructure, damaged infrastructure weakens resilience, and weakened resilience invites further disaster. Children are growing up in this reality, learning that their parents' ways of living may no longer be possible. School days are interrupted by floods, lessons about marine life now focus on extinction rather than abundance, and the local diet shifts to imported food that lacks freshness and diversity. For young people, the psychological stress of witnessing environmental collapse, what some call climate grief, is becoming widespread. They are losing not only physical security, but also their sense of belonging and hope. Coastal youth now face an uncertain choice: stay and struggle against an ocean that grows hotter and more hostile, or leave and abandon the culture that has defined them. The deeper warning in these stories is that the crisis at the ocean's edge will not stay there. The effects of rising sea temperatures ripple inward through disrupted trade, higher food prices, disease spread, and climate migration. The collapse of coastal livelihoods today will translate into urban instability tomorrow, as displaced populations crowd into cities already strained by heat and pollution. Health systems will have to stretch to cover not just medical needs, but nutritional deficiencies, mental health crises, and sanitation challenges on a scale never seen before. The changing ocean is rewriting the geography of human survival. It is no longer a distant or abstract part of the climate problem. It is the bloodstream of the planet, now running hot. Every reef that dies, every shoreline that erodes, and every fishing net that returns empty is a warning that life along the coasts is standing on the edge of something irreversible. Coastal communities are not only losing their homes and their food, they are losing the rhythm that once held them together. As the ocean warms, those lives hang in the balance, tethered to tides that are rising faster, salter, and far more unforgiving than ever before.